What up? I'm B and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things true crime and current events. I'm super excited you're here today. I am really interested in today's topics and I think it's going to be an interesting time. So there's tons of stuff going on in the world, so many different things happening. We are in unprecedented times. People are going wild, but the same BS is still going on. So for this week's video, I thought it might be kind of interesting to take a look at some various news stories from this past week and just explore them a little bit, see what's going on in different corners of the world just a little bit. So I went to people.com, yes, the People magazine, and looked through their true crime section and picked out a few stories I wanted to take a look at. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into them. So this first story is about Joe Exotic. It's a pretty long article, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I did want to take a look at the people, some of them who were in the series gave a response to how they were portrayed, and so I wanted to take a look at that. Now, if you don't know who Joe Exotic is, you're missing out. You probably have Netflix or you have access to someone else's Netflix, so you need to watch it. You need to see it. It is a documentary. It's wild. The characters are unlike anything I've experienced in my own life, and it's just been a huge sensation. Basically, if you haven't seen it for some reason or you haven't heard about it, Joe Exotic is he was a zoo owner. He owned big cats and other exotic animals, and he had this big park in Oklahoma. A lot of misfits, seedy people trying to find their way, find themselves, were all involved with his park, and the documentary also explores different other parks and other big cat owners, as well as looking into a woman named Carol Baskin who does not like Joe. She owns a big cat sanctuary, and they kind of have been butting heads for, 20 years, something like that, and eventually Joe got arrested for allegedly, I guess they convicted him of it, but I have my own feelings about his conviction, for hiring someone to kill Carol. So he's in jail now, but they have tons of documentary footage from before this happened and looking into his life in general. It's truly, sincerely wild, and I'm debating having a live stream at some point to talk about Joe Exotic and Tiger King, as well as Love is Blind, because I started it this week and I have a lot of opinions. I get the hype now. But anyway, so the people who were in the series, as for how they were portrayed in the series, there were mixed reactions. They tried to sensationalize a story to give it a villain, Jeff said. Jeff was the villain, to be completely honest. Jeff is so sketchy. He's the guy who came in, bought the park, essentially, invested in the park, and basically took over. He was super seedy. He's super sketchy. He would take lion cubs to Las Vegas and roll them through the lobby in a suitcase up to their room, because you're not allowed to do that, and use them to get girls. And he and his wife would let girls come pet these cubs in order to sleep with them. So super sleazy. He just looks like a dirtbag. He looks like a conniving dirtbag. And I think he had something to do with the murder for hire plot, 1000%, more than he's been accused of. So I think he is the villain. Duh. And then it says, I was portrayed as a drugged out hillbilly, and that was not me then. At that time, I was 4 to 5 years clean. When my daughter was born, I decided never touch another drug again, said Finlay, who later told McHale he was shirtless for all his interviews because why not show off his tattoos? Bro. Yeah, of course the documentary crew is gonna they're gonna get the best angle for themselves, and so duh, you're not gonna look exactly how you want to look in a documentary, but at the same time, I think you could have put a shirt on and maybe you would have looked a little bit better. John is one of Joe Exotic's ex-husbands, And in the interviews, he's shirtless and like sweatpants, I think, sitting on a chair. So many of his teeth are gone. He's claimed that that's from a medical reason. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but you could have done your part in making yourself look a little bit better, John. We gotta take some responsibility for it. However, former campaign manager Dial told McHale, the way they did this documentary, it's fair, balanced, and I just think it's a wonderful production. The truth hurts. Dude, that campaign manager was fed up 99.9% of the time. He witnessed something absolutely horrific, so I do feel bad for him, but he just looked like he was over everything at all times. And then Kirkham is the producer who came in. He worked for NBC, I think, and he came in to kind of up Joe Exotic's online streams. He would do live streaming, and it was just like, you know, cheesy redneck stuff. And so Rick came in to try and make it like a real thing and like sell a reality show, and ended up leaving when the studio with all of his equipment and all of his film caught on fire. It says Kirkham did not enjoy reliving his time at the GW Zoo in Oklahoma. I regret ever meeting Joe Exotic because I went in because I saw there was a great opportunity for an incredibly wonderful show about big animals and this crazy zookeeper. But I too was sucked into the surreal world of Joe Exotic. I will never get over it. I still have nightmares, Joel. That's not funny. I'm sorry. As funny and like ridiculous and out of this world as this whole story is and this whole community is, I have no doubts that it's not all funny rednecks like wearing glitter shirts and playing with tigers. Like, I know there is a dark side to it. I shouldn't be laughing at that. I still have nightmares today. I had nightmares last night, he said, and since this docuseries has been back, I've had more nightmares about having lived on the park. I want to put this chapter away, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The one thing that I think can come out of this docuseries is good is that people are now going free the animals. I think that's the best thing. That's good, but I mean, if you want to put it to rest, you don't have to take every opportunity that you are offered. But okay, so that's what they said. And then next, missing from the new show is, so there's like a new show that Joel McHale is doing, kind of like after series on the whole docuseries. And so missing from the new show is Carol Baskin, the founder of Big Cat Rescue, and Joseph, Joe Exotic Maldonado Passage's nemesis, who has been outspoken about her disappointment in the Netflix series, specifically for the lies and innuendos that suggested she had a role in the disappearance of her late husband, Don, which Baskin has repeatedly denied. Here's the thing. This isn't the first time that the whole Joe Exotic series and like the whole Joe Exotic story has had attention on it. Wondery did a podcast on Joe Exotic, and they very heavily implied that Carol was under suspicion for killing her husband. Like, they made it known that they think that his disappearance is quite suspicious in relation to her. And so I don't know what she was expecting to come out of it. It's not like the news came to her and said, hey, can we do a story on your sanctuary? Hey, can we do a story on this? This is a documentary. This is like a reality show, essentially. It's a combination of the two. You know that they're going to spin the best angle. You've been on a podcast before that very heavily indicated you in the disappearance of your husband. I don't know why you think this would be any different. Like, I mean, I get being upset about it and wanting to get your message out there, have more people know about you, but if they ask you about the disappearance of your husband, you can guarantee that that's the angle they're going to take when they cut it all together. So I think it's kind of naive of her to be disappointed and like bring it up like she's surprised that they did this. Anyway, Maldonado Passage 57 himself, who was found guilty in 2019 for paying a hitman $3,000 to kill Baskin and was recently transferred to the medical center of a Fort Worth, Texas prison, is also absent, as is his husband, Dylan Passage. Yeah, so that's just saying that they're both absent, or they're all absent from the new after show. And then this is the last thing that we'll read from it. Although the docuseries has been seen by millions of viewers in the United States, Maldonado Passage isn't one of them. Finlay told McHale that he and his fiancee binge-watched the series in 7 hours the night it was released. Oh my gosh. Earlier this month, Dylan, his new husband, confirmed, which we gotta talk about that too. His whole like going after younger guys. I have thoughts on that. Earlier this month, Dylan confirmed that while the disgraced zookeeper is aware of the series, as he's in prison, where he's serving a 22-year sentence for the attempted murder plot of Baskin, Maldonado Passage hasn't seen it yet. He's in jail, so he can't necessarily watch it, but once the show dropped, he was getting hundreds and hundreds of emails to his jail mail, and he was ecstatic. Passage told Andy Cohen on SiriusXM's Radio Andy, adding that his husband is 100% enjoying the spotlight. Shocker. Okay, so here's the next story. Before Florida wife was reported missing, family received suspicious texts that she had COVID-19. When the police went inside the home, they found towels with a reddish substance on them that appeared to be blood in the washing machine. Yikes. So this is from the 10th. This is a short one. We'll go ahead and read the whole article. And it says, just days before, Florida woman Gretchen Anthony, who's estranged, suspicious right off the bat, estranged husband David Anthony is accused of kidnapping and murdering her, was reported missing. A suspicious text message was sent out claiming that she had COVID-19 and that she was being held by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. What? On March 25th, Jupiter Police Department received a call from a witness who said that Gretchen, 51, had texted them on March 23rd. CBS 12 reported the next day another text was sent out, allegedly from Gretchen, explaining that she had an acute case of coronavirus and was being transported from Jupiter Medical Center to a CDC-approved task force in Belle Glade. Palm Beach Post reported. That center, however, does not exist, according to the news outlet. I was going to say, like, I haven't personally heard of any, like, special treatment centers for coronavirus. It's just either it's bad enough that you need to be hospitalized or go home and stay home. Please don't leave your house for 14 days. So that's interesting. The messages allegedly from Gretchen continued to flow in, and on March 26, recipients learned that Gretchen was being placed on a ventilator, Palm Beach Post reported. When family and friends called Jupiter Medical Center, there was no report of her ever being admitted. On March 26, Gretchen's family reported her missing. She was last seen on March 20th. Yikes. So that's almost a month ago. When police arrived at Anthony's home on March 26, one neighbor asked if they were investigating the attack that occurred Saturday morning, Palm Beach Post reported. When police went inside the home, they found towels with a reddish substance on them that appeared to be blood in the washing machine. They later searched the garage and found a fresh bleach stain on the floor, Palm Beach Post reported. A cadaver dog trained to detect the smell of decomposition picked up a scent inside Gretchen's home. The investigation also turned up Gretchen's abandoned Mini Cooper in the parking lot of the Jupiter Medical Center. Then, on March 27th, signals coming from both David and Gretchen's phones were picked up in Texas, according to police. Guys, Palm Beach Post reported. Okay, we get it. I'm sure it's fine when you're reading it quiet, but when you're reading it out loud, you're like, okay. When David, 43, was located and arrested March 31st, about 1,900 miles away in Las Cruces, New Mexico, a second cadaver dog alerted on David's 2016 black Nissan Frontier pickup, police said. It was unclear what led police to him. Citing further evidence, police said it is believed David E. Anthony is responsible for her disappearance and related homicide, which was determined to have occurred on March 21st. Ugh. That's horrifying. You know, something that is, I don't want to say like interesting, but that I think should be talked about a little bit more, is the like COVID-19 related crime, coronavirus related crime. I mean, this article, the information that's in here kind of makes it easy to believe that the estranged ex-husband sent possible texts from her phone in order to make it look like she was sick and, hey, like, don't call me, don't text me, I'm gonna be, you know, in this CDC facility, which doesn't exist, in order to, like, throw people off and maybe just kind of confuse them, keep them from looking for her, keep them from calling her, and then apparently murdered her. And so I don't think that's the last time we're gonna see something like this, because there has been just such a rise in crime, especially domestic crime. Domestic abuse has been just skyrocketing, and I can't imagine what it is like. Luckily, it seems like she wasn't quarantined with this man, but people who are quarantined together, who are in abusive relationships, my heart goes out to those people so hard. Like, the thought of it kind of gets me off my goat. But as far as this goes, this is definitely interesting. I'm wondering how it happened, how this all played out, and hopefully within the next few weeks here, we will be able to get some more information and police will be able to give her family more info, because apparently there was an attack on Saturday that a neighbor either heard or saw, so we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so now for our next story. A California man allegedly punches his mother after getting into an argument over toilet paper. Adrian Yan was arrested for suspicion of battery. Y'all need to get it together. California is struggling right now. I get it. It's hard. You guys you've been home for a long time. You've had a lot of cases. People are scared. People are stressed. I get it, but man, we got to get it together here. So it says, a California man has been arrested for allegedly punching, it's not funny, his mother after the two got into a heated dispute over toilet paper in their home. On Monday, the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Office tweeted that they responded to a call where family members were arguing with each other because one felt the other one hid toilet paper. The argument soon turned into a physical confrontation, which led to the man's arrest. Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond to people's request for comment. The incident unfolded when the son, a 26-year-old Sagis resident, identified as Adrian Yan by TMZ and NBC Los Angeles, accused his mother of hiding the toilet paper. Bro, you're 26 years old? Grow up, man. Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Shirley Miller told CNN, and then here's a tweet from the Sheriff's Department, or the Sheriff's Office. Family disturbance calls can start over small things, and then they escalate. Deputies responded to a call where family members were arguing with each other because one felt the other hid toilet paper. It turned into a physical confrontation. One got arrested. That's true. When you are stuck together, quarantined for a long time, it's like the littlest thing that sets you off. But, bro, you can't punch your mom. You shouldn't be punching anybody. At around 3 a.m., police responded to the home, and the mother claimed to authorities that she did, in fact, hide toilet paper, but only because she felt her son was using too much. This is the first arrest I've heard of that started out over an argument over toilet paper, Miller said. The mother, whose identity has not been released to the public, denied medical treatment. Gosh. Yan was arrested for suspicion of battery, NBC Los Angeles reported. As citizens across the U.S. continue to practice social distancing amid the ongoing novel coronavirus pandemic, deputies with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department have noticed an increase of family disturbances seen and reported. See? In addition, many people have been hoarding household items, including toilet paper. In response, stores are struggling to keep the product on their shelves. This is another thing. Stop hoarding toilet paper. You're fine. You're fine. Like, you are allowed to leave your house for necessities. You know, maybe get a little bit of an extra stock so you don't have to go out as often as you might normally go out. People who have like massive amounts of toilet paper, where are you putting it? I don't understand. You're quarantined anyway. If you run out of toilet paper, you can't like wash yourself off. You can't hop in the shower. You can't do what they used to do with baby diapers and just use like a washcloth and clean it. Like, there's plenty of solutions. Don't hoard toilet paper. I'm sure you know this, but if there's anyone out there who is watching this who happens to be hoarding toilet paper, please stop. Anyway, the New York Times reported that a Whole Foods supermarket in Somerville, Massachusetts limited shoppers to 2 packages of toilet paper each, a move that is being adopted by more stores around the nation. Definitely, I've seen that around here. Psychologist Mary Albert, who is also an associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at the George Washington University School of Medicine, told Time that this panic buying can be explained by people's desire for a sense of comfort amid the chaos. There is comfort in knowing that it's there, Albert said. We all eat and we all sleep and we all poop. It's a basic need to take care of ourselves. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's a basic need. I'm sure they do feel comfort, but also grow up. I don't want to be mean, but you should probably figure some stuff out. Like, there are plenty of other alternatives to having massive amounts of toilet paper, and you are causing so much harm for other people and just making this a bigger issue than it needs to be. It makes you wonder with stuff like that, like, was he already a violent person? Like, has he punched his mom before? Has he punched other people before? Kind of unprovoked, just because they irritated him? Or is it that, maybe he felt violent urges before, but he was always able to control them, and now that they're in these kind of extremely stressful situations where you're quarantined together, you're not leaving, seeing other people, you're in close proximity at all times, it's easier to get irritated with people, and so because of everything going on, he just kind of snapped on her. Definitely interesting. And now for our last story. Prosecutors release rowing photos Lori Loughlin allegedly used to get her daughters into USC. In new court documents filed on Wednesday and obtained by People, Olivia, 20, and Isabella, 21, are shown posing on ERG machines in activewear. So, I'm sure you know at least a little bit about this, but last year, Lori Loughlin, I think Felicity Huffman, and several other parents were investigated and then subsequently arrested for bribing USC to let their kids in. And so they allegedly got Olivia and Isabella on the rowing team, even though they were not rowers. And people were really upset because it's like, you literally know this was wrong. Like, it's not like they made a donation to the school and so they let the kids in because it's like, oh yeah, sure. Like, you gave us a massive amount of money, they can come be students. Like, they took spots from other people who could have used that to go to college, like who were skilled enough to be on that team, who being on that team could have given them additional scholarships for school, stuff like that. And so it's like they took spots away from people who really could have earned those spots. And Olivia was not handling it the best. People called her out because she'd made plenty of YouTube videos. She's a YouTuber about how she's not really interested in school. She just wants to go for the experience, for the parties. She's gonna miss a lot of classes. She hopes the dean understands because she wants to travel. She just didn't care about going to school either. And that's the thing is if your kids cared about going to a good school, they would have done what they needed to get into that good school. They would have been paying attention to their grades and their extracurriculars and making themselves look attractive to schools like USC. But they didn't. And basically, I would be so mad if my parents tried to do something like this. Because if I really wanted to go to USC and my parents did something like this, I'd be like, you don't think I'm smart enough to get in on my own? You think we have to bribe people and fake these photos and do all this sketchy stuff? You don't believe in me? I don't know. There's a lot of elements involved. There's a lot of components in this story, but let's go ahead and see what the article has to say. Federal prosecutors have released the rowing photos they claim Lori Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giannulli supplied to get their daughters Olivia Jade and Isabella Rose into the University of Southern California. In new court documents filed on Wednesday as part of the FBI's case and obtained by People, Olivia, 20, and Isabella, 21, are shown with their faces blurred, posing on an ERG machines in activewear. It is despicable that the government would stoop to this level and release these photos when they were never even sent to USC. The government is trying to bully Loughlin into taking a plea deal, a source close to Loughlin says. So the fact that these photos in specific were not sent, it's like, that's not a good leg to stand on. They still took those with the intention of sending them to USC. Like, that's not your greatest defense. Sure, it's kind of shady that the government released them. I probably wouldn't be happy either, but they still took the photos with the intent of bribing the school. So, not the most noble argument, I suppose. According to prosecutors in the court documents, Giannulli, 56, emailed college admissions scam ringleader Nick Singer his older daughter's rowing photo on September 7, 2016. Prosecutors state that Giannulli sent the image after Singer told the fashion mogul it would probably help to get a picture with her on an ERG in workout clothes like a real athlete, too. Shady. In response, according to the prosecutors, Giannulli said, "Fantastic, we'll get all." After Isabella was accepted, Giannulli sent an email to his financial advisor, according to the prosecutors, writing, "Good news, my older daughter is in USC. Bad news is I had to work the system. Bummer." The following year, on July 28, 2017, Olivia's rowing photos were sent to Singer, and prosecutors state in the court documents that Loughlin, 55, was CC'd on the email. Olivia and Isabella never participated in the sport. In addition to the photos, Loughlin and Giannulli allegedly paid $500,000. The release of the photos in response to Loughlin's attorney filing a motion to dismiss her criminal case based on the actress's claim that the FBI told Singer to lie about Loughlin and Giannulli's knowledge of bribes being paid. Lori, Aunt Becky, what are you doing to us here? Loughlin and Giannulli were charged in October with 1 count each of conspiracy to commit federal programs bribery, in addition to charges of money laundering conspiracy, conspiracy to commit mail-in wire fraud, and honest services mail-in wire fraud. They have both pled not guilty. In their memo filed March 25th, the defendants allege that the government belatedly disclosed Singer's contemporaneous written notes, revealing that those recordings were a sham carefully engineered by government agencies in an effort to entrap defendants and nail them at all costs. Just admit that you did it. Like, you know that you're rich. You know that you'll be able to, if you have to go to prison, you'll be able to get go to a privately owned prison. You probably won't even have to face real consequences if you are convicted of this or if you reach a plea deal. This is just lying. It's just straight up lies. And my biggest thing is, if you're gonna be shady, own it. You did this, you got caught. There's no way you're not going to be found guilty. It's beyond evident that this is what happened, that the bribery happened. But you guys are rich. You're rich in America. The consequences aren't going to be that bad, so just admit that you did it and take the hit. Like, I would respect them so much more if they were just like, all right, yeah, we bribed them. Yikes. But the fact that they're lying about it really puts a bad taste in my mouth, and it keeps me from wanting to watch Fuller House because I want to see the last season, but not if Aunt Becky's a liar. The government's extraordinary misconduct warrants extraordinary relief. The facts known so far justify dismissal of the indictment, the memo previously obtained by People said. At a minimum, the court should order suppression of the tainted recordings. Suppression is essential because the recordings are highly inflammatory, meaning show my client's guilt, prejudicial, and deliberately misleading, especially in light of Singer's other statements to defendants and the government that the paychecks were not bribes, the memo continued. Right. Guilty. Is that Massimo? If it is, guilty. So those were some of the most interesting true crime stories from the past week, in my opinion. If there are any other stories that you want me to look into, definitely feel free to leave them in the comments below. Additionally, I will put the links to the articles in the description box if you want to do a little bit more reading on your own time. And if you like this type of video where we take a look at things going on in the world of true crime right now, let me know in a comment or let me know by liking this video so that I can do more just like it. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you have subscribed already, thank you so much. I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.